And thank you, Jim Lawson. Thank you all for being here. This is a critical moment in our city's history. This is your moment. This is our moment. There's a lot of different ways I've seen over time when people get elected that they prepare for a transition. Many times there's a panel of 6 or 10 or 15 or 100 co-chairs. It's an honorary and symbolic thing. And that's nice, but I'm not so much into symbols. I'm into work. I'm here to get done what this city needs and what we want in Los Angeles. So instead of doing it the old-fashioned way where you go behind closed doors and a few people tell the city what it needs, I'm out here listening to the city talk about what it wants. Because this city is not my city as the mayor-elect. This is your city. The power that exists in the city doesn't exist at City Hall or in a think tank or a university classroom or a boardroom. It's on the streets where we live. It's on those blocks we know better than anybody else. The places where we work. The small businesses that we own. And I want to transform what you think about Los Angeles and how you think about city government in Los Angeles. The second pillar of what I'm trying to do with this transition and my time as I become your mayor is to keep it simple. Keep it focused. Don't try to be all things to all people. Don't try to do everything. Because we have to do the basics. I ran on that message. I think whether you voted for me or not, I got elected because I said we need to get back to the basics in Los Angeles before we can do the big things. And that's been my experience. My experience as a council member, which has made me more hopeful and more enthused and more idealistic than when I started, strangely enough, is because it's now not abstract. It's rooted in real things I've seen change. Hollywood, where 12 years ago, when friends would visit us from out of town, they'd say, "We want to see Hollywood." We'd have to say, "No, you don't." But today, you can go there because there's transit and housing and small businesses and safety. And we can all acknowledge some of the toughest years we're coming out of right now. But we have a lot of work to do to make sure we don't just emerge from tough times, but that we come out of tough times quickly. We surpass what the national average is, we surpass what the state average is, and we put LA in the front of the line again. Yesterday I greeted the president. President Obama came into town. We had two presidents here. We had President Clinton and President Obama. And I had the privilege of greeting him when his helicopter landed, and he asked if I wanted to ride with him on the way to his next event. Not being stupid, I said, "Of course, Mr. President, I would love to." But it wasn't so that I could say I had taken a ride with the president. It was for us to be able to talk about LA. And he was excited. Remember, he's lived in Los Angeles. I always tell him when he's here that he's an honorary Angelino because he lived here for 2 years of his life. And he said, "So what do you want to get done first?" And I told the President of the United States the same thing I'm telling you today. I want to put us back to work and get our economy jump-started, and I want to make City Hall work again for the people. And I asked him for his help, because whether you're the President of the United States or you're the President of your block club, I need you. I didn't just want your vote. More than that, I want your participation in changing the social fabric and the political fabric of the city. We have to be honest, it is not strong in Los Angeles. It never has been compared to other cities. But I'm in a room of activists that have been the threads of an either frayed fabric or a too-weak fabric that we are hoping our brothers and sisters will join us, and with each thread it will become a stronger and stronger fabric, strong enough to lift us up, to keep us together, and to pull us forward. That is the vision that I have, which is why making City Hall work is so important. If you don't feel that your phone call will get returned, if you don't feel that your question will be answered, if you don't feel that your problem will be solved, why should you come back and be part of a frayed political fabric? But if you do get that phone call returned, if you do get that question answered, and even if you get that problem resolved, you're coming back for more. And that's what I want from each and every one of you. The idea that over the next 4 years together, we are unstoppable. But if we stay in our little silos, if we stay divided, if we only say the things we're upset for not getting, as opposed to those things that we've gotten or that we're striving for, we won't be able to move forward together. So the breakout sessions are not just for you to see me, it's for me to hear you, and more importantly, for you to hear one another. Because we do such a bad job sometimes listening to each other. Politics has transformed itself into something where whoever shouts loudest gets the most space, instead of listening to people so that we can bring together the voices of many. So in each one of the groups, challenge somebody who hasn't talked today to talk, or somebody who is a little quiet to make sure that they have the space and the place to be heard in the group. Vote on what your priorities are, because you can't do it all. But I saw walking around here some things that really seemed to bubble up to the top. Youth jobs, I saw in almost every single group here. That we have to have opportunities in the summertime for our young people to be someplace safe. Neighborhood amenities, especially here in South Los Angeles, that no neighborhood should be left behind. That those basics, whether it's a beautiful street, whether it's bike lanes, whether it's transit, that here in South LA, that should be what we start with, because on top of that, you can build everything else. A city hall that feels too distant. That's also another theme around here. And it's tough, because we're in a city of 4 million people with less than 40,000 city workers. But I've never taken that as an excuse not for us to reach out and for people to feel touched and heard. The first day after I'm sworn in, I'm going to be holding office hours, where people can come and meet with the mayor first. First day, the first act that I'm going to take. But I'm going to demand that responsiveness and closeness from my general managers, from our city workers, because we have tremendous city workers, but we have to together change the culture on both sides. What we expect of the city and how the city treats you. Together, I know we have the best and the brightest people in our city government, who, if they are given the right rewards to innovate, given the right rewards to talk to the community, will indeed be responsive, will indeed innovate with you and build communities. Because so many of our city workers live right here in our communities too. So lastly, I would ask this of you. As you look at these walls and as you think yourself about what you want to see in this city, when you close your eyes at night before you go to sleep and imagine that Los Angeles that you hope to see a year from now, and 4 years from now, and 10 years from now, that you promise me and promise each other that you will work hard to accomplish that. That it won't just be, here's my idea, City Hall, go fix it. Because we can't do it on our own. But I know with the leaders that we have here today from the faith community, from our neighborhoods, those that are here from labor, those who are here from the business community, our great elected officials who are here, Diane Watson, who's given so much to the community, Bernard Parks, who's here, Karen Bass, who was here earlier. We've got so many people who have been a part of making sure that you have a voice, but the strongest voice is your own, not ours. I will be a mayor that amplifies what I hear, but I need to hear it. I will stay close to the street, but you need to be there to meet me. And don't be surprised if I knock on your door one day, because we're going to be doing neighborhood walks like I did for 12 years as council member. And suddenly I ask you, okay, tell me straight, what are we doing right and what are we doing wrong? What do we have to improve and what role can you play to help us get there? Because I know that we are an unstoppable city and we are poised for greatness. This is our moment. Politics doesn't happen in some distant place like Washington, D.C., and it doesn't happen in a future date like the next presidential elections. It happens right here, right now, in Holman, at this moment, with each other. And I know that together, if we do that, we will make the city not just big, but great once again. Thank you all so much. So next, go back into the groups for the votes. So we're just going to do the voting on the different ones that are up there. And by the way, this is one of 7 that's happening, 6 in the neighborhoods and 1 online that we'll do towards the end. And we'll be sending everybody more information, but June 30th, not July 1st, will be the swearing in because it's a Sunday, late in the day after church, so don't worry for our pastors. I figured working people could come out, and Mayor Villaraigosa has very kindly said, go ahead, you can get sworn in 6 hours early. But it's not till midnight that I take over, so don't call me that evening. All right, carry on, go back into groups, and we'll do the votes. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone. So if your groups are not done, we want you to